If you could live forever, would you? And my outlook on this is, if you buy a bouquet of flowers and hand them to your loved one, and the flowers are made of plastic, how would your loved one reply to that? They'd probably think you don't love them. The fact that flowers die is the very reason why they have meaning as a gift. You're handed flowers. They're going to be dead in 7 days. That means, you better pay attention to them. You're going to smell them. You're going to take care of them. And dare I say that my knowledge that I'm going to die gives not only meaning to my being alive, it gives urgency to it.
I completely agree. I definitely agree. I think, for sure, what makes life so special, so important, so life is the fact that it's fragile and it's impermanent, right? And that's kind of why, as he said, the urgency of it. Now, mind you, I'm be honest, if I had to live forever, which we all do, just not in this form, right? I would definitely pick to live forever. That, this is just me, you know what I'm saying? Being a vampire, as long as it ain't got nothing to do with like afterlife, me suffering for, like heaven, hell, that good stuff, selling my soul, I definitely do it. That's just me personally, right? But if you notice in all those movies as well, like the vampire movies and all the good ones that, have to do with living long, you notice that the older ones, the older vampires, the ones that live so long, tend to be ready for death, right? They usually, after living so long, and that's why you get to understand how life is so important. For some ideals, some theories, when it comes to spirituality or living longer, all that good stuff, or how God did stuff, like I use like Lord of the Rings and some other beliefs. The simple fact that humans, we get to live for a shorter period of time, that shows how much the Creator loves us so much compared to the other beings that, live for probably forever, or, celestial forms or whatever it is, because we get to experience life, in multiple forms. You know what I'm saying? If you believe in reincarnation and stuff like that, you might come in as this person today, and, if you pass on, you come in as the next person, and that's the next being. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of the idea. But ultimately, though, the reason why life is so sweet, you know what I'm saying? It has a sour taste to it too. But the flavor of life, the reason why it's so interesting is because there's an urgency to it. You have to value every second, every minute. If you could live for extremely long periods of time, you might just, there will be no need for you to chase a lot of things you want to chase, to do a lot of things you want to do, because, why? You know what I'm saying? I could always do this 10,000 years from now. I could always do this next year. I could, you know what I'm saying? But because our lives are so short, everything is so, and that's why we tend to, there's this hurrying effect, because you don't know how much time you got. And of course, I always say the first rule of reality is nothing lasts forever. Second rule is we don't know how long you have it for. So enjoy it while you have it. Now, that concept will not mean anything if we lived forever. You know what I'm saying? If we're vampires, there will be no importance, right? I know human beings, we're constantly trying to chase eternal life, even as I said myself too, right? And not say I'm chasing it, but I would welcome it, if it didn't come with any, backside, backlash or any negativity, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about any negative effects, side effects, right? But that's only because, we all have dreams, goals, things we've set we want to, achieve and all that good stuff. But the urgency for us to want to achieve that stuff comes from the fact that life is so impermanent. We don't have a lot of time. We don't know how long we got to. So, you think about the people that find out, how long they have to live. You know what I'm saying? Think about how, for some people, it might be a daunting thing. They might shatter their minds. But most of them always tend to have a bucket list. When they figure out how long, I'm talking about people that are critically ill and stuff, they have, things they set that they want to do before they pass. Now, if they live forever, they, when they had the idea that they were going to live forever, they didn't have that bucket list, or they weren't trying to achieve that bucket list or achieve those things, leave that imprint in their mind or in their reality as much. You feel what I'm saying? But when they find out how much time they got, they try to achieve that within that time. And that's the same thing with life. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how long we have, but because we don't know how long we have, it could be tomorrow, it could be today, it could be the next second. So we all trying to achieve that thing. That's kind of the flavor in life as well. You know what I'm saying? I always say variation is the flavor of life, but also this unpredictability is this impermanence is, of course, the major, you can say that's just the major, spark, of life itself, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with what bro is saying. I understand what he's saying and I agree with it. But as I said, if I had the chance to live forever, at least to choose when I'm going to, pass type thing. Oh yeah, I definitely do that because, of course, as I said, I got big goals, I got big dreams. Not just me, I'm pretty sure a lot of people do too. Of course, we don't want to leave anything uncompleted, we want to achieve all our goals before, the time goes. But y'all can let me know what y'all think. This is just my opinion, my thoughts, and of course, my advice at the end of all this is live, enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? Follow those rules I set. First rule, you don't know how long you got it to, and all that good stuff. So live it to the fullest. Enjoy it while you have it and leave your imprint in your reality. You know what I'm saying? But it's your boy Almighty. Subscribe, and I'm going to see you next time.
Almighty push.